Good day. This is John from Dan Bez Racing Carburetor. I want to do an additional video on the idle transfer slot, which I've been doing quite a few videos lately because it's the area that I absolutely, positively have the least control over. We measure both of these items. This is where the idle is in this diagram, and this is where the transfer slot on the wet bench before it leaves, and I can preset them. But I cannot tell the exact amount of vacuum that these engines make or how well they're running at idle because of timing and other things. During overlap in the camshaft, the exhaust valve closes after top dead center. I suggest everybody get out their cam cards and see where the cam at 50 thousandths lift, or even what they call advertised duration, which is 20 thousandths lift, and see where the exhaust valve is closing, and then realize that the rocker ratio and lash is added to that event. So the later that the exhaust valve closes, the further down the piston is before the vacuum is isolated to the induction side. If the exhaust valve is open and the piston's going down at an idle, it's easier for the air to come up the unrestricted exhaust. There's no butterfly valve in the exhaust like there is in the throttle plate that's closing. And carburetor up here. These butterflies are closed at idle. I'm going to go over a little bit of that too. And the exhaust side is unobstructed from complete pure path from the collector all the way up to the cylinder. So unless the timing of the exhaust valve closing is closer to TDC, then it's easier for the engine to draw in exhaust at idle than it is to draw through the idle or transfer slot. But today I want to concentrate, because the other times I've done these videos has been on the idle. Today I want to really show the transfer slot, and hopefully I can do a fairly good job of it. Some of these concepts are really not easy to discuss. People are so used to going and putting the carb on and it should just work. I wish that was true, that every single time I could get it absolutely perfect. But sometimes in these cases I need a little assistance from the owner, and in order to get these areas correct. So I've got an earlier style metering block here with a more conventional feed, and I want to be able to show these items as well, where the idle fuel delivery going down through the metering block, and at the bottom of the main well, let me see if I can get that so you can see the right there, you can see it a little bit. I'll pull it up, down, so you can see it right there. Let's see if I can put a little more light on it. Right in there's the red. There it is. And that's the bottom of the main well. There's the main well, the normal emulsion hole adjustments, and the jet. This is the earlier metering block. The jet would be to feed the idle at the bottom of the main well. You just see these metering blocks. Yes, these metering blocks also have the jet on the float bowl side as well. And that is right here, right where my thumb is. This hole. And that would be the jet on the float bowl side. These are our earlier metering blocks. But like I said, I want today to concentrate on the transfer slot development and fuel delivery. So the fuel, and it's traditional, I'll use that word traditional. This is the one, the jets here would be plugged. In the regular Holley metering block, they don't even exist. So the fuel going through the jet, so the float bowl have fuel above the jet, then it would siphon in the main well and be at the same level. This is idle or not actually running. The fuel in the float bowl would level off and be the same depth in the main well as it would be in the float bowl. Then when you start the car, this action will try to repeat itself. We'll try to keep the fuel in the float bowl in the main well the same as the float bowl. Tries to level off. But at that point, the engine from the idling circuit first will be drawing fuel, and it goes up through the main metering block, comes out through this hole. Put another little thing in here. Let's see if we can show you that. Over here. Bring my little light over again. Right there. So that's where the fuel is coming up through this channel. It goes from the jet at the bottom of the main well. If it's in there, we're talking the traditional fuel delivery. They may actually have the hole there, and the jet might be at the top here, and some of the Holley metering blocks. I just find it's convenient for the machining process to put the air bleeds in and the threads all in one spot in a row. It's just much easier when you're making the metering block, is to put that right in there and thread it at the same time you're putting the emulsion holes in. So then the fuel via this channel empties out into this vertical channel here, and that's where the fuel delivery for the transfer slot comes. It comes directly off of this channel. So I want to keep it simple today. So that would be the air bleed. Let me bring this back over here. The air bleed from the main housing will be at the same position here. Comes over. I'll get a gasket quick. Get a gasket. Let me stop this thing.